Hello, everybody at St. Luke's and beyond. It is so good to see you. I am coming to you today from a greenhouse in China Grove, North Carolina, on a farm that's been in my family for over 100 years. And I can't think of a better place to talk with you about what our church, the hard conversations our church needs to have. We always need to have those hard conversations, and especially now. The best way I can put it to you is that the year was probably, 1967 or 1968. And I remember it was a sunny afternoon, and I was invited to play with a good friend of mine from our church, and she lived on the other end of town. And normally, my mother would have taken me on that play date and dropped me off my mother would have. But that Saturday, my father did. And I didn't understand it, because usually on Saturdays, he was at the hardware store or the lumber yard or mowing our grass or working in his garden or something. But he drove me that day. And the thing is, my friend I went to see her a lot, and so to get there, you would go down the two main streets of town, Church Street and Union Street. And that was really, as far as I was concerned, the only way to go. So on that day, we got in the car, and I was so excited about going to see my friend Carla, because she had a Mrs. Beasley doll from Family Affair, and you pulled out the thing in her back and she would talk to you, and we just thought it was the best. But I could tell that my father was not himself, and so we took off down the street, and he just started going the wrong way. Instead of going down Church Street and North Union and going through downtown Concord, beautiful downtown Concord, he went all these weird back ways, and he was like kind of driving slowly and looking from the left to the right at every intersection we came to. And finally, I said, "Daddy, why are we going the wrong way? You know the way to Carla's house." And he said, very calmly and very quietly, as I was only probably about 6 years old, 7 maybe, he explained to me that the parade was nothing more than grown men dressed in white robes with hoods over their faces so that nobody could see them, and that they were marching through town because they didn't like people who were not white. I didn't understand. I said, wait, parades are supposed to be fun. Why would we have a parade for something mean? And he said, we shouldn't, and they shouldn't, but they are, and we don't want to see it, and we don't want to have any part of it, because we do not believe what they do. Suddenly, even at the age of 6 or 7, suddenly I understood why my dad was driving. I knew that he was concerned and he wanted to keep us safe, yet he wanted me to go have my time with my friend, and I'm sure that my parents discussed it and decided it would be best if he took me. And there's no doubt in my mind that he was prepared to have that hard conversation with me in the car, knowing that it would really alter just my view of the world. I truly had no idea. Even growing up in the post-Jim Crow South, I guess the Voting Rights Act had been passed, and the Bank Loan Act was probably about to be passed. Schools where we lived were still segregated. They were going to be integrated soon, but I didn't know that at that age. So the whole thing is, that day, he planted the seed, just like those little plants we just saw in the other greenhouse. He planted the seed of something that was not entirely welcome in my life, nor was it something that I could even really process at that age. Looking back on it, I really think that it would have been great if I had learned more about it, that I had more knowledge and a better appreciation for all sides of that. And I didn't have those tools. All I knew was the most important thing, which was that he modeled and told me, we're not with them. We don't believe that. So here's the thing. We have these resources now. We have the 21-day challenge for racial equity. It is an amazing resource. I've already been doing it for the last 2 days, and let me tell you, it is so easy. I mean, there are TED Talks, there are YouTube videos, there are great resources for families, for parents to help guide you to create the spaces and provide your children the opportunity to ask questions and for you to be prepared for those days when you might have to do something differently in order to make your point. Thinking back on it, I could have benefited so much from this all those years ago. I could have benefited from it when our schools integrated, because in that day in our town, while the teachers were all very kind, they thought the best thing to do was just not mention it and it would be okay. Well, that was really not a great idea, because it didn't help the new kids coming in, and it certainly didn't help the kids who had been there. It also would have helped me the summer that I was a rec supervisor in a gym near where I grew up. I was the only white adult with 200 children of color. The other supervisors and camp counselors were not white. I thought I learned everything that summer, but again, I was wrong. There were still things to learn. Proverbs 18:15 says, "An intelligent heart acquires knowledge, and the ear of the wise seeks knowledge." So friends, our hearts and our ears are ready. We have the knowledge here. Let's go find it together with this 21-day challenge. And as you can see, I'm now in another greenhouse with full-grown plants bearing fruit. Yes, tomatoes are fruit. But I'm hoping that the fruit that comes from our knowledge is more of the peaceful variety, more of the generosity variety, and more of the action variety. But we have to start somewhere. So let's start with the seeds, and let's start with these great resources. You can find it on our it'll be in highlights tomorrow, and it's still in the comments from this past Sunday's worship. But you can go to myersparkpres.org, and you can also find it right there. So thank you for taking a little agritourism trip with me today. And I look forward to growing right along with you, because let me tell you something, friends, it is never too late. Thank you, and I wish you peace, and I hope that you are all well. And we will all look forward to seeing you again on Sunday. Bye, everybody.